Hi, I'm Eva, and today I would like to tell you quite a personal story that gives you an insight on hypnotherapy and that also tells you a tiny bit about me and why I am a hypnotherapist today. So, the big topic is fear. Fear is one of those emotions that doesn't feel that great once we have it. It's not an experience that people like to have, and if fear gets really, really big, it can lead to panic. And that is exactly what happened to me because I was afraid of blood tests. So I had an extreme fear whenever my doctor wanted to figure out how, my health was and said that I needed a blood test, I would immediately start panicking. And the panic went that far that when I was lying down, I usually asked people that I could lie down when I did get a blood test because I knew, especially also for the person who takes the blood, because, if any other person just faints, it's difficult to at the same time take the blood and look after the patient. So, yeah, it's a complex situation that actually wasn't that bad, but I thought it was. And it felt really, really bad. So I did lie down. And when they came close with the needle, I felt this extreme feeling of I just want to run. My flight impulse was on 150%. I didn't want to lie there. I just wanted to run. I did start to sweat. My whole body cringed, which didn't make it easier to, get blood out of the system. And I was in an awful state of panic and terror every single time when I did get a blood test. And yes, that doesn't happen all the time, but it did happen. And it was awful. It was awful because, first of all, it's not a nice feeling if you feel that you might faint. Second, it's not a nice feeling if you are in terror and panic. And third, I was so ashamed, which is also not a nice feeling. I was so ashamed of that situation because on my rational side, my rational mind was telling me, how stupid is that? How stupid is that fear? It's a teeny tiny needle. They don't take liters of blood from you, they just take a sample, and that is it. It's not bad at all. And the funny thing is, in my adult life, I never had a bad experience. It's not that anyone ever hurt me. It's not that I had a big hematome or something. It's not that I fainted. It That wasn't the case. Every time I did get a blood sample taken from me, I had a good experience. But still, I was panicky. And from a rational point of view, my rational mind was telling me, how stupid are you? Why is that such a problem? Why are you afraid? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. Why is it a problem? And yeah, that's the thing about fears. Most fears, um, or with actually all the feelings, all our feelings are not rational. They are not. Feelings are feelings. You can't, with your rational mind, say uh, it does or it doesn't make sense. It's just a feeling and it doesn't have to make sense. It's just the way you feel. And that's fine. And the thing is, our subconscious does work on those feelings. It's based on feelings. So with my rational mind, I couldn't do anything about it. Of course, I could sit there, and that is what I did. I was meditating and I was breathing and I was calming myself down, but I was panicking still. Even while I was calming myself down, I was panicking. And at some point, the thing is, it wasn't a fear that, was awfully big in terms of it didn't make my life, it didn't influence my life much. I mean, how often do you get a blood test? It doesn't happen that often. So it was nothing that I immediately felt I have to deal with. But it was something that I wanted to deal with because this panic feeling was so bad that I didn't want to feel it any longer. Also, at that point when I figured I wanted to do something about this fear, I was planning to have a baby, and I knew during pregnancy that you do get tested a lot more than usual because, yeah, it's important that you're healthy while pregnant. So before I got pregnant, I went to a hypnotherapist and I got rid of that feeling. Because in that session that I had with this hypnotherapist, I figured out what was lying underneath it all. Where had my fear of blood tests started? And it had started when I was a teenager, because at that point I needed to have a blood test, whatever for, but during that blood test I did faint. And that made all the people around me panic. The person who started to, take the blood from me was overwhelmed with me fainting. And so the doctor also came in, and there were two people like trying to stabilize me that I didn't, just knock myself on the ground. And they were looking after me. And since I wasn't completely shut down, I could hear everything that happened in the room that I was in, and I could hear and feel their panic, and I was super ashamed. So that was the start of it all, because I fainted by a while having a blood test. I started to be afraid. And with every single time that I did get another test, this fear came back. And that programmed my subconscious onto I'm afraid of blood testing. And the longer that took, like it was probably more than 2 decades, that I had this fear built up with every test, it got more intense. So in my 30s, it was panic. When I was a teenager, it probably was just fear, but in my 30s, it was panic. It did build up every time, again and again and again. And what happened during the hypnotherapy sessions, from today's point of view, I can't tell you because I cannot remember everything that happened, but I do remember that we went back into that situation and that I came out of the situation without the feeling of being afraid. If I would be my client, I would do something similar. I would go back to the original situation and I would reprogram basically the way you would see or feel the situation. It's like looking at a situation that has happened in your life from a different perspective and with a different feeling. And also, like in this situation, it was really, really important to get the shame away from it because there was nothing to be ashamed of. I just fainted. That was it. And so back in that session, that trigger was taken away. So the fear, basically the link between the blood test and the fear got cut. And with that, it was gone. And that is the cool thing about, things that hinder us, that we have experienced somewhere in the past that come with a feeling that influence our daily lives sometimes. They can be changed. Nothing in our subconscious has to stay the way it is right now If it hinders us, if it blocks us, we can change it. And for me, that was really a vital experience, because after that fear, was basically resolved, I did get pregnant and I had all the blood tests and it was fine. I mean, it's not that I'm the huge fan. It's not that when someone comes with a needle, I'd be like, yeah, here, take my blood. No, that's not the point. But I don't panic any longer. I'm not afraid. I just say, yeah, it's okay, here, take my blood. It's all right. And that can happen to anyone, and that can be done with anyone. That is also why hypnosis is, quite a good example, and it is probably one of the most common things that is done with hypnosis, is getting rid or resolving certain feelings, and in this case, for example, fear. And it works really, really well. And I am the best example for it, because that hypnosis that I went to, that was back in 2017. Now we are in 2025. So some time has passed. And still now I'm not afraid of getting blood tests. I'm also still not the biggest fan, but I mean, who is? So it's totally fine. It's resolved. And that is something that I wanted to share with you today, that we can resolve things. We don't need to live with everything that we live with right now. And if you want to change something for yourself, please get in contact with me. And if you want to learn more about my work and see how hypnosis can look like, then I will put a link down in the description, because I have a masterclass on shame. And I mean, this is also a shame topic. So I have a masterclass on shame. You just have to, log into it. You have to register yourself once, and then you can look into the masterclass. It doesn't cost you anything. Just the registration is the only thing that you have to do. And then you can see different videos about topics that are important when you work with yourself. And then there are also some self-hypnosises that you can download and listen to whenever it fits you. And that is one thing to, start your journey if you're interested in. That is about the topic of shame. But basically any other topic can be worked through, can be worked with by hypnotherapy. And it's amazing what can be done. And for me, it was basically back then just one session that solved it. But I can't guarantee that. So it is sometimes possible. I have worked with another client on her, she was afraid of heights. And that was also just one session, though she told me that there's still one situation that she can't stand, but she says it's no problem for her, because she doesn't get into that situation much. So for her, one session fixed her being afraid of heights for, I would say, like 98%. 2% are still open, but she doesn't want to work on that. So she says for her, it's 100% solved. And that can happen within one session, but I can't guarantee that to you, because what we don't know about our fears is what are they linked with and linked to. So that is what we do establish during the session, that we take away we try to take away all the links, but sometimes it's just not possible to take away all the links in a 90-minute session. So that is one thing that I want to say here. Hypnosis can do heaps. It can be super fast. It can sometimes just be one session and you're done, but that is not always the case. But I wanted to give you, the last insight on that one, because why is it important for me to tell you this story? And that is, I am today a hypnotherapist. I did do a course, a class for 9 months to become a hypnotherapist. And I'm working with clients now and I change their lives. And it's amazing what hypnotherapy can do. And for me, I did want to do that because I knew it works. And for me, it still works. I mean, I did have one session 8 years ago and it still works. So yeah, it's just a really, really great tool. And when I was thinking about where my career goes to, the next steps and everything, I figured at some point I do need this tool. I do need to also use hypnotherapy because it's such a great tool and it can change so much, often so fast, and it has a lasting effect. So that is why I share my stories in on this channel, because I am also still my biggest client, and it's great. It's so, so great what you can do, and you can change. That's the main thing that I would like to tell everyone. You can change. You don't have to stay the way you are if you are unhappy with something in your life, an emotion or something that has happened in your past that is still haunting you. It is possible to change. You don't have to stay in a feeling that you don't want to feel any longer. Yeah, that's the biggest takeaways for today. And thank you for listening to me. Thank you for watching this video. And if you're interested in topics like that, then please just join me here and follow my channel. And yeah, I will keep you posted on, I think, a lot of interesting topics that will come on hypnotherapy, but also I will always come back to stuff that I'm working with or to examples from my clients. So yeah, stay tuned and see you next time.